Hello computer nerds, electronics geeks, retro computing enthusiasts, YouTubers of all sorts with a technology bent. Welcome back to my channel. I am calling this video Odds and Ends from the Workbench, my very messy at the moment workbench, because I got a lot of stuff going on. Got the Teletext System Master back here, which I have a whole series of videos on, and there's going to be a few minor updates about it in this. Well, actually, I guess most of these updates are about it in one way or another, technically. Not a huge amount of stuff has happened since episode 11, but, you know, a lot of stuff is in the works. So first off, I've started building the daughter board I talked about back in episode 11. And it's going to plug into the System Master over here where the EEPROM plugs in, and I'll pull this PAL chip out and put it in here, and there'll be 74LS138 address for address decoding the EEPROM up here. And I've decided I'm going to use a well, I can use either a 27256 EEPROM or a 28 C256 EEPROM in there. So I can go either way, but of course it's not simple. There's a gotcha. There's a gotcha, and that's going to be very difficult to read, but basically the pinout of the two chips is subtly different. So I'm going to have some jumpers up here, and I'll have to change the jumpers around based on which chip I'm using. So I came up with a schematic for what I want to do, and I'll give you, you know, a close-up look at this if you're interested. So, yeah, so I've started working on the daughter board. I decided not to use that Radio Shack board. I used a piece cut out of this blue board here, and these blue boards, I found these on eBay. I really like these, and I think you're going to see a lot of these in some future projects I have in mind, but no spoilers. You'll have to wait and see when they happen. But I really like those blue boards, and they're going to come in really handy for some future projects. So yeah, so I'm working on the daughter board. We'll see how that goes. Now, I lucked into something the other day on eBay. I got myself a cheap S100 backplane. Now, cheap as in inexpensive. It actually seems pretty well built, although it does not have any sort of termination on it. But I'm not too worried about that at this point. I only have the one S100 board at the moment, back here, the Teletext System Master. So I don't have to worry about too much about termination with only one board. Now, I did order some other boards, and from S100 Computers. If you go to that website, you'll see they have, you know, all kinds of info on all kinds of S100 boards. In fact, that's where I originally downloaded the manuals for the System Master before I bought it. But they have info on just about every S100 board ever built. But they also have links to new boards that people are still building today. People are still building for the S100 bus. So, you know, I lucked into this, and I thought, well, I'm working on the daughter board for this, but also I could just build, you know, get another an S100 prototype card, stick it in the bus with the System Master, and put the EEPROMs I want to use in the prototype card and talk to them that way. So that's a possibility down the road too, since I've got since I've got a backplane now. So, yeah, I ordered some prototype boards, and I'll give you a look at what they look like too. And they're pretty inexpensive, and they should be here any day. So I ordered 3 of them, so I'll have some to play around with. So, next question. How do I power this if I start plugging boards in it? Okay. Am I going to build the big honking linear power supply that S100 systems had back in the day with the massive big transformers and the big can capacitors? Do I want to do that? Or do I want to go a little more modern route? The last video I posted on this channel, I built a benchtop power supply from an ATX computer supply. So check that out if you haven't seen it already. It's coming in handy here because I bought something else on Amazon the other day. It's a little buck converter. So this will, it's a switching buck converter, and it will take a higher voltage input and put out a lower voltage. So I've got it hooked up to the plus and minus 12 output on this power supply. And let's see here. If I turn on my meter, turn that on, look at that, 8 volts. Now that's just what we need for the main power rail on this backplane. And this will handle up to 8 amps. And this thing can put out like 15 amps at 12 volts. So, you know, we got to have plenty of 8 amps. So I could probably get 4 or 5 cards powered with 8 amps. So, yeah, 4 or 5 easy cards. Now, I'm also in the market for a boost converter that can turn either the 5 volts or the 12 volts up higher, so I can get plus and minus 16 that I need for the bus here. So I'm in the market for one of those, so I'm still looking around. Anybody got any recommendations? Point me towards it. But this is a nice little thing. This is very small, and it seems to work good. It's adjustable, you know. I can adjust the voltage to whatever I want, although 8 volts is right about where I want it right now. And, you know, it can take a wide range of input voltages and produce just about anything lower at pretty darn high efficiency. Of course, I got no load on it right now, but if it can work at its rated load, that would be great. Turn the power off. You know, not really thrilled with some of the soldering on it. It's a little amateur hour looking, but the thing works. I'll grant that it works. So we'll give it a shot. The next thing I'm going to need to think about is a case. If I'm going to build myself an S100 system, I'm going to need a case big enough to hold the backplane, the cards, and a power supply, something like this probably, and a buck and boost converter. And maybe drive bays. That would be nice. So I'm going to keep my eyes open for, you know, a large box PC computer box. You know, a lot of them come my way. If you check out my other channel where I do all of the scrapping out of the e-waste, I get a lot of large old PC boxes. So, you know, beige boxes. So I think some of them will work. have to take some measurements inside and make sure that there's clearance for everything. I'll probably have to make some custom mounting brackets, maybe cut out some of the internal bracing and whatnot to make it work, but I think I can build myself a case for an S100 computer. And I can get away from just having everything mounted out here, out in the open on a board. I can get some bench space back, you know, because I could put the board down underneath the desk or underneath the bench or something when I'm working on it. Less I need to get into it, which probably will be fairly frequently, at least in the beginning. So, yeah. Okay. So there's that. I need to get back to work on the daughter board and get. I've ordered some EEPROMs. Turns out I only had one, and I'm a little worried. I think it's a little flaky. I salvaged it from e-waste, so I've ordered some others off of eBay. So we'll see if I get good ones or I get cheap Chinese fakes. Which there's been a lot of that lately. And then I need to finish this up and then program up the EEPROM or EEPROM, whichever way I decide to go, because it can go either way, and then test it out and see if it works. I'll put my Jazz 80 monitor in here along with Microsoft Basic in the EEPROM, and we'll see if it'll fire up. See if it'll all run out of the EEPROM or EEPROM without me having to load Microsoft Basic over the serial line from the terminal like I have been doing. And speaking of my Jazz 80 monitor that I've written, I am getting some interest from people in getting a look at the code. So I am going to put together a place on my blog where I can host the code and people can who are interested can download it and look at it. So, like I said, I don't have a GitHub account. I may get one eventually, but for now I think I'm just going to work out of my own blog. And I'll put links to where you can find that once it's up there. Right now, you know, it's not on there. But hey, check out my blog anyway. There is a lot of interesting stuff there. And there's going to be a lot of room left on the EEPROM or EEPROM. So once I get it up and running, as is, I'll start working on some additions. I would like to get some sort of mass storage on the System Master. So either working on getting the drive, the floppy drive emulator running again, or working on something like a compact flash interface. I mean, a lot of people are doing that these days with their retro computers. The hardware looks super simple. It's mostly a matter of software, and there's going to be a lot of room left in the EEPROM where I could put in the stuff for having a file system on a compact flash. So that's a possible way to go too. It might actually be easier than trying to figure out that darn emulator, which has given me nothing but heartburn. Oh, and another update on the ET3400 project. Or I did get SM Baker's modern version of the ETA 3400 RAM and I/O expansion card for it. So I'm in the process of accumulating all of the components I need to build it. So once all the components are here and I have some time, we'll dig back into the ET3400. I need to modify it. I need to increase its clock speed and bring the data lines out to the header on the bottom of it. So I'll need to crack it open and make some modifications to the circuit board inside. And then I can start building the ETA 3400 memory I/O expansion board for it. And so that will probably be a series of videos in itself. And I have some ideas for improving on Mr. Baker's design, minor improvements. And of course, I should get the thing working before I think about actually improving it. So we'll see. Okay, so I guess that's all the odds and ends I've got for today. Once I get the daughter board completed, I'll be testing it in the System Master. That'll probably be worthy of a full System Master episode in itself. Got to get to work on the S100 bus enclosure. Got to find myself a boost converter so I can get plus and minus 16 volts. Yeah, lots of other stuff going on. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to see future episodes of the Teletech, the ET3400, odds and ends, any other projects that come along. Subscribe. Press the little bell icon that YouTube makes you press to be notified when new videos come out. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.